Well, welcome, Althea. Welcome to our online gathering. If we have not met in person, my name is Catherine Newell. I am the very, very blessed and lucky spiritual director here at the Althea Center for Engaged Spirituality. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook, especially last minute. The weather had some really fun things going on. If you are in Denver at all, or even in Colorado, I think, thank you for joining us. We are rolling with it. It's a little snowy out there, so we wanted to definitely keep you safe. That is always number one. That should be the bare minimum for any spiritual center, is your safety and your warmth and your well-being. So we really value that. And we're also having a communication issue with our boiler. So we are doing a lot of affirmative prayer and also using repair folks to come out to Althea as well right now, hopefully fixing what is needed to be fixed in our boiler. We are blessed to have an amazing building, a historical center, and sometimes things don't always happen very smoothly in a very, like in 100-year-old building. So we roll with it. That was something I never learned in seminary, but I know that Spirit helps us and gets us through all these moments. So thank you for joining us. Really, wherever you are, we are so grateful for your presence. It matters, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. We value you so much at Althea. We really appreciate the energy and just the goodness that you bring to our community. It matters. We see you. Even online, that's what's cool about Facebook. We can have little chat box conversations. So if you do want to put in the chat box where you are and maybe how many inches of snow you have outside, and have you built a snowman or snow person yet, and or maybe some snow angels, that kind of stuff. I'd like to know. It is coming down for sure outside my window, thick flakes, but it is so beautiful. So this is definitely, to quote another awesome Althean, it is a fuzzy sock kind of day. So we wanted to empower you and support you with your fuzzy socks. So thank you for joining us. If you are new for some awesome reason that you're joining us for the first time online, welcome. It's like this all the time, super fun. We roll with it. And normally if we're in person, we would give you flowers, but know that we are sending you lots of love via the internet. And there are many, many ways to get involved at Althea. So check out our website, which is ever evolving, with lots of opportunities. And if you have any questions about how to get further involved in our community and support us or serve in some way and volunteer, definitely reach out to our volunteer coordinator, Sarma. She will hook you up. If you have a calling and a gift that you would like to share with this community, we welcome it. We embrace it. So you can email her at, staff@altheacenter.org. And now we just root. Before we go into our prayer space, we always love to do a land acknowledgement at Althea. So depending on where you are located, if you want to also write in the chat box the indigenous land you find yourself on, it really matters to us at Althea to do this every single time we gather, because while we have a sacred building that is, I can't wait to tell you more about it, because this is really the Sunday we're going to dive deeper into our personal history at Althea. The land beneath our feet really matters. Many of us, especially me, people who look like me of this kind of skin color, don't come from this land originally. And it's so important that we acknowledge the folks that lived here prior, and that we acknowledge the indigenous communities that are alive and well and holy and guided and working towards healing and liberation, just like we all are in this country. So for that, for us in Denver, and especially at Althea, that's the Ute, the Cheyenne, and the Arapaho peoples. So we just open our hearts and our minds. We open our beings to hearing this information, and we really acknowledge these folks who walked our amazingly sacred land before we did. And with that, I would love to lovingly pass the mic to someone I deeply love and share a lot with in this lifetime. that we always love to start with a prayer at Althea. And today, our experience is all around the first wave of feminism and the first wave of the New Thought movement, and really seeing how these things collide and combine and weave together. And so we're going to get into our own divine science history at Althea. And I thought, who would I like to be standing with me in this now virtual stage that can bring the essence of what I know to be true in New Thought, the person that taught me a lot of what I know and it helped me embody it. I am a fourth generation member of the New Thought movement. So I'd love to invite you to listen to a prayer by the third generation in my family of the New Thought movement, my own mother, Linda Newell. So I'd love to pass the mic to you, Mom, and thank you for praying us in for this sacred time together.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I'm not sure I am. Can everybody see me? Okay. All right. So thank you, Catherine, first of all, for asking me to be here today, for being a light in my life ever since you were born, but particularly now spiritually. And I will say I'm so grateful to be here the first weekend of Women's History Month, where we are delving into this place of New Thought women and the strength and what they have brought to the movement. So I am very grateful to be here. So let us just take a moment, and if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes or rest your eyes on a certain place in the room. And take a deep breath in and out. And letting go of anything that is around you that has no meaning to you right now, and focus in to your breath and focus in to your spirit. We know that there is a power in the universe greater than we are, but that resides within us. We know the power, we know the grace that words and thoughts can have. And so we take this one moment to listen to those thoughts that are coming from that spiritual place in ourselves, that are coming from that place that we know has all of the intelligence that we need, all of the grace, all of the love, all of the power that we need. We are one with that spirit. We are one with that power. And we know right here and right now that our words of affirmation, our words of affirming prayer, our words of affirming ourselves and each other in community. And we know that the boiler in Althea Center is being healed right now, not only through consciousness, but also through repair people who will be on their way nurturing our boiler. We know that as a community, we are here together today for just a moment together, knowing that we are going to be feeling a resurgence of power within ourselves, of empowerment, and also of grace and stillness. As we watch the snowflakes, for those of us who have them around us virtually, online, or outside our window, we see the snowflakes and know that we too are part of that snowflake. that stillness that settles around us. And we give thanks. We give thanks for knowing that our spiritual director, Catherine, will also be a vessel for that divine word that is coming through her, that we will be able to hear it and understand it and embody it so that we can apply it in our own lives. So we give thanks knowing that this is so, and we let it go. And we breathe again, knowing this is so, and we let it be. Amen.
Thank you so much. There is a reason why we start every single gathering with prayer, with the fervent prayer. It literally drops us down. It changes the frequency. And I hope that wherever you are today, you are feeling the sacredness. You are feeling the holy ground beneath your feet. That even though we're not in Althea's wonderful space, that we are in a sacred space wherever our bodies are. And with that, we still got to have fun. We still got to do what we normally do. And what do we normally do? We got to have a statement of being. We got to sing Face of God. We just have to do it. So this first experience, this first week of Women's History Month, we got some powerhouse women on this call. And I'm going to lovingly pass the mic to a few more of them. It's a very intergenerational experience today, which we love to do at Althea. So I'm going to pass the mic to Leela and to Erin Weems, who are two wonderful women who come to Althea. And I'm just been so grateful to have met you the past few months. And they're going to join with us and sing the Face of God and say our statement of being. So take it away.
Good morning, Althea and beyond. This is Leela. I'm Erin, and we're honored to be here in this moment in women's history. So please, we invite you to join us in collectively stating our statement of being. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I lost my page.
That's okay, Erin. I think you got the heart of it right there.
we had a freeze when but we're going to roll with it and move on into Face of God. Ready, Leela? All right, loud and proud. You ready? You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God.
That was fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Erin and Leela. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to your cat, really, for joining in. It makes all the difference. That's the beauty of a little bit of a home ritual, right? We have other beings in our space as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to pass it now to one of our beloved pillars in this community, Katie Kurtz, who will share with us some readings from some wonderful quotes from some of the New Thought women who founded several veins, I think, of the New Thought movement. Katie, take it away.
Good morning. The first reading is from Nona Brooks, who is the founder, one of the founders of Divine Science, and was a minister and in our space for many, many years. It's from her book, Mysteries, from 1924. Anyway, old age does not mean the burden of years. It means the fruition of a life. Years are our friends, not our enemies, if we live in harmony with these and think of them as opportunities for development. Each day of the year is in itself an opportunity to realize more of truth. But unwisely, we resist the passing of the years instead of cooperating in spirit with the seeming flight of time. It is human ignorance in relation to process that makes us old, not the experiences of time in its passing. It is our attitude towards time that keeps us free from the limitations that the race would burden us with. Nona Brooks. And the other one is very short. It's from H. Emily Cady. Desire is God tapping at the door of your mind, trying to give you greater good.
Thank you, Katie. Well, we're going to get into a little bit of who those women were who wrote that. So I think it's important to talk about history in general. But off the top of this experience, this gathering with you today, I just want to acknowledge a little bit about what's going through our planet right now. Our lived experience, our embodied reality is, I feel lately, I don't know if this is how you feel as well, that this rubber band is just pulling tighter and tighter and tighter. And of course, we're in the midst of Pisces season, which I usually love because I love emotions. I love emotional intelligence. But oh my gosh, the tears and the anger and the excitement and every emotion that could happen, I feel like right now, not only in my life, in so many lives of those that I've been hearing from this week. Whew. So just off the top, I want to say, let us breathe together. And I hope that you know that I'm a human. Yes, I'm a spiritual director, but I'm a human. And so I am an incarnated body and going through this life the same as you, working it out and weaving in these aspects of theology and wisdom and truth the best way that I know how. And so I kind of love that we're online in this moment for whatever reason Spirit decided, so that we can be almost more intimate with each other in this space. So I'm going to go through a lot of awesome New Thought history and tell you all about these cool women. And I just want to focus on that for a moment, and not that we're ignoring what's going on in the world, but just that we get this little sliver, this little time together to root in the reality we want to build, the reality we know is connected to truth for each one of us. So I come to you very vulnerable today, as someone who has been feeling a lot of feelings, as someone who has been navigating a lot, and as someone who is in the same boat as you, where we have been dealing with a pandemic for years now, and it seems to get better and then it morphs, and it seems to get better and then morphs, and there's really no clear end. And I'm feeling the weight of that consistent trauma, especially this week. And then, of course, the threat of nuclear war, all that good stuff. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of people not honoring other humans. I've been shocked and appalled with the state of the world this week. So I just want to acknowledge that so we can kind of get that out of our bodies a little bit, so we can root in what we know is the goodness of God, is the goodness of ourselves, and that unity and that relationship and that divine feminine awareness that is awakening within us all the time, but we're really going to hone into it this month during Women's History Month. So thank you for joining me. I'm glad we just got that over with and out of the way a little bit. We're not stopping thinking about the world. We're just carving out a little moment. So back to our history. Why does history matter? I feel like such a history professor in this. I was writing this sermon, getting super jazzed because I'm a complete, like any kind of theology, history of New Thought movement nerd, 110%. So you might not be that, and you might be thinking, what is Catherine so excited about? This is really strange, but stay with me, okay? Because I get super, super, super excited with all this history, but especially being the spiritual leader of Althea is a dream in so many ways because of all this history that led us to this moment. So yes, we're going to talk about history because it's important to know the context in which we come from. It's important to know what worked, what didn't work back then, so that we can actually navigate our lives better now, that we can actually weave in this like wisdom and ingenuity and creativity in our daily lives now. But the next time we do get to actually step foot in that building, I pray that you'll take some time and look around a little bit more at the history on the walls. Not only the pictures, but the history literally of the walls and on it, painted and created and carved into our sacred space. Take some time, really love and lather up in awareness in this building. So I want to start with defining feminism, because we're going to talk about feminism all month, and we're going to talk about the New Thought movement. And so we want to do kind of both and then weave them together. This is something that I wrote many papers on and explored a lot during my time at seminary. And it not only clarified the historical accuracies for me, it was very emotional. History is incredibly personal when it comes alive. And that's why having a building like we have is so fascinating to me and so important now more than ever, that we are rooted in this aliveness of the history. So first, let's do feminism, then we'll do New Thought, and then we'll migrate together, weave it together for our awareness and for a lot of fun, I think. So let's see if I can share my screen. That will be the next thing here. 1 second. Share screen, and I'm going to go, oh, look at that. Okay. Here is the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of feminism, because sometimes people hear this word, especially male embodied people, and they think, oh, it has something to do with other people besides my identity, and they check out. So I invite all of the folks listening to really understand feminism is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. Should have, because do we? No. Hopefully, we'll illuminate some of these issues and opportunities today. And second, it's an organized activity in support of women's rights and interests. So it's rooted in activism. It's rooted in changing the status quo. So part of it is a belief, and part of it is a system. When we talk about privilege, we have varying levels of privilege, and we deal with these intersections often in lots of different privileges. But if you are a femme or you identify as a cisgender woman in society, you have some benefits, and you also probably don't have equal rights, definitely not equal opportunities, definitely not equal pay. And so we need to talk about the belief that we hold, that if you are a feminist, doesn't matter what your identity is, doesn't matter if you're a woman or not, or another gender entirely. It means that you support equality to the core. That's it. I think a lot of people try to make it more complicated, and it doesn't need to be that way. Secondly, it's a system. So let's work together in this system. The next thing I want to show you, and of course, if we were together, I would just be putting these slides up on the big screen, but I want to give you a brief understanding of the 4 waves of feminism. And so today we're just going to be talking about the first wave, but it's really, really early on in our history, in the past like 120 years or so ago. So it says here, it starts at like 1900 to 1959. I would even go back further, and we're going to delve into it a little bit more. It really began, I think, in the 1980s or 1880s. And the goals are like women's suffrage, property rights, political candidacy, that kind of thing. But we're going to get into that for sure today. I'm just going to give you an overarching view real quick, because we're going to go through the other ones the next 3 weeks. But the second wave is the 60s to the 80s. So a lot of workplace economic support, legal inequities. Third wave, 1990s to the 2000s. We are embracing the individuality, the individualism, diversity. Now we get some intersectional feminism going on. And then finally, the fourth wave, which we're in now, but we haven't been in very long at all, since 2008. And so this is much more combating misogyny, sexual harassment, and assault, but also it's dealing with a lot of paradigms, and it's the most spiritual wave at that point. So I'm going to stop sharing, because I know you're so enthralled in my history lesson, but I want to help you and really have it like come alive for you as it does for me. We're going to nerd out together. I'm going to find my notes here. The first wave of feminism is really what we're honing into today. That is why we called it the power of thought. We're focusing on the power of thought today. That's the birthplace of divine science, and the whole New Thought movement was birthed out of this paradigm and this awareness at the time. In our culture, we have different waves of thinking, different waves of thought. And this, for the first time, was a uniquely American thing that was going on. We can have other things happening in the world, sure, and women were gaining rights in different countries. But specifically, the New Thought movement is a uniquely American thing. And there's a reason why it was birthed at the same time that feminism was becoming actualized on this planet. So there's the women's suffrage movement. Women are getting rights at the same time, they're demanding it. But what changes about their daily life? That's what I love about history. It's not about, like, yes, we can study systems and laws that are passed, but really imagine the life of our founders. Imagine these women, probably born in like 1850, 1860, finally in like their 20s, 30s, 40s at the turn of the century. And they have not had a lot of rights at all. Everyone's required to wear what? Skirts and corsets, probably. You're not allowed to go to school. There's all these jobs you can't have. There's all these men you have to marry. If you were queer, forget about it. So there's a lot of context at that time. And spiritually, I can't imagine how repressed these women must have felt. So they were focusing on the writing, because that's what rooted them in the empowerment. That's what allowed them to share these thoughts that were coming through them at the time. So they focused on writing, empowerment. The doors were literally opening up for them to come into spaces they had not really seen before, not just to vote, but to start leading in different ways. Finally, society was willing to open their paradigm to what had been previously known about women, and especially women in leadership. They were finally legit. If you have any kind of historically excluded identity, you know the feeling of not even being invited into the room, let alone sitting at the table for important decisions to be made. All of that switched in this moment. All of that was coming to fruition. So we have a political movement and we have a spiritual movement, and they are uniquely entwined. And that's what we're going to go through the whole month, really, at Althea, is how each of these movements were activating the embodiment and the power of women at each stage, and they were activating the consciousness and the manifestation abilities at the same exact time. These are completely united. We talk often in Althea that, there's spirituality and activism often go hand in hand, that it really matters the embodiment of these principles, not just the thinking it up here. And that's what these women were actually doing. So that's a lot. I feel like I gave you a ton of information. And I'd love to know, just before we really dive a little bit deeper into your thoughts about feminism, any reflections, anything brewing in you right now, if you want to add it in the chat box, any illuminations that have come up just in me explaining what is feminism. Did that shift for anyone? Did you have a previous idea of what feminism was to now? How does understanding the waves of feminism help you understand the context of our history and who we are, not only as people, but as spiritual beings on this planet? I'd love to hear it in the chat box. I'm going to briefly go through a little bit of history that I will definitely get into more through a course that I'm designing on New Thought history. It's important that we dive deeper in, but for now, I'm just gonna like have a few names that you know a little things about this. It's actually started, a lot of people say it started in the turn of the century, but I want to go back a little further to transcendentalism. We hear a lot about Emerson and Thoreau, Bronson Alcott. What about Louisa May Alcott, his daughter? What about the Peabody sisters, who were writers and teachers and helped redesign schools and the thinking of education in our American society? Margaret Fuller definitely died way too soon, before her time. She was a huge player, meeting with all these folks. So we hear about the men. There was a lot of women in Concord, Massachusetts at the time when Transcendentalism was birthed. So I just want to illuminate that piece. A few names you should know in New Thought. Emma Curtis Hopkins, the grandmother of New Thought is what she's called. She was rooted in Chicago. So that was like where she taught a lot of folks. She would just open up her living room. That's how a lot of this stuff got started. Ideas, sharing it with people that were your neighbors and friends and colleagues. And then Mary Baker Eddy founded Christian Science right before 1990 or 1990. 1900. It's hard going back, y'all. It's further back than we think sometimes. So a lot of people mistake Christian Science for a lot of other facets of the New Thought movement. And briefly, I'll just say there's 4 waves of the New Thought movement specifically. It is in Boston, Christian Science, and then Unity in Missouri, Divine Science, which is us, Althea, in Denver, Colorado, and then Religious Science, which is now called the Centers for Spiritual Living in California. So as people progressed across this nation, they progressed in consciousness and dove deeper. One thing I want to lift up is the differences between what people think Christian Science is than Divine Science, and that is specifically the diversion from Christianity. At that time in our country was very Christocentric. And for the first time, Mary Baker Eddy said, let's look at the Bible metaphysically. Let's look at the healing that could happen in our bodies. So she created a whole book, looks like this, Science and Health, Mary Baker Eddy. I have a couple versions. This is like my classic version. It's a wonderful book and it has some limitations. And that's why Divine Science is much more focused on oneness, because this is still very rooted in biblical tradition and understanding, very Christ-centric still. So Emma Curtis Hopkins said, who's the founder, the grandmother, they say, of New Thought, said, I do not believe in a mixture of good and evil in the world or in myself. All is good. And so as I illuminate this, the oneness factor, it's not just the oneness between people or the oneness between, I don't know, animals or whatever, everything. There stopped being this split. Up until that point, there was a lot of binary language, a lot of splitting. And Divine Science totally shifted a lot of that. Completely. So before I get into a little bit more of what it is, I would love to do a little quiz with all of you that I really wanted to do in person. but we can still do it in the chat box in Facebook. So let me see. I'm going to share my screen again. And I'd love to ask you, oh wait, we're going the wrong way here. A few questions, because I do want to tell you the history of Althea a little bit, but I wanted to see if you knew it first. So I thought that would be fun. Maybe you're like, no, I don't like quizzes, but I think spiritual quizzes are different. I feel differently about them than I do in classic school. So I'm gonna come and share my screen real quick. All right. So in the chat box, can you tell me how many women founded Divine Science? 3 of them, 4 of them, or 5? That's the first question. How many women founded Divine Science? Oh, I was gonna go on. Actually, no, I can't do the next one. So I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. So I'd love to hear your answer. So this is question 1. So A, B, or C, question 1, right? Like the number. Question 2, the Brooks sisters consisted of A, Althea, Annie, Nona, B, Althea, Fanny, Nona, or C, Alethea, Fanny, Nona. Who are the Brooks sisters? So this is question 2. So write 2 and then your answer as well. And then I'll actually give you like one more second because I know this is a tough one. Tried to trick y'all a little bit. What year did our current Althea building open up? Was it A, 1887, B, 1919, or C, 1922? Which year? It's based on what years I gave. And this is question 3. So what year did our current Althea building open up? So how many women were in the New Thought movement, or how in the Divine Science? And then the Brooks sisters consisted of who? And then what year did our current building open? So I'm going to stop sharing and see online, and let's see what y'all voted on, and I'll tell you the answers. So let's move down here. Let's see some of your 4, 3 people. I love this. A lot of 4s and a lot of 3s. For question 1. And the answer is 4 women created Divine Science. So it's kind of a trick question because we have 3 sisters, 3 Brooks sisters, and then 1 extra woman, and her name is Melinda Kramer. We're going to get into a little bit of her story in 1 second. Y'all are good. All right, question 2. Sarma says C, Anna says B. Question 2. It is actually C. Alethea, Fanny, Nona. It was a trick. So even though our building is named Althea, one of the oldest sister was actually Alethea. That was her name. And then the middle sister, Fanny, and Nona was the youngest out of the 3 sisters, the Brooks sisters, who come from Pueblo, Colorado. And they moved up to Denver. All right. And the last question is, what year did our current building open? And maybe you knew it, maybe you didn't, but Katie Kurtz did. So did Zarma. It was 1922. And so if our building was birthed in 1922, what does that mean for today if it's 2022? It's our 100th anniversary this year. So if you haven't figured it out, now you know. We're celebrating it all year long, and we're going to have a big blowout party to celebrate it later in the fall. But just wanted to let you know, historically, we've been around 100 years. This building is sacred and a pillar in Denver for this long. All right, great job at the quiz. I'm going to fill you in a little bit on Althea and divine science particularly, which is that these three sisters, Nona, Fanny, and Alethea, were in Pueblo, Colorado, and they had a sick friend who actually, I cannot find her name anywhere because she just goes by Mrs. Frank so-and-so. So we don't know her real first name. We know her husband's name. And she actually needed an abortion. And she heard that she could not get one here in Colorado. It was illegal. And she couldn't find a doctor to do it. And the only person she could find was someone in Chicago. So she was headed towards Chicago on a train to get an abortion. And someone said, you know, what's going on with you? And she started saying, my body's not doing well. I think she had 4 kids back at home. So she was worried about surviving another pregnancy. What happened was someone unknown said to her on the way to Chicago, you should check out Emma Curtis Hopkins. She's doing these heal your body like workshops basically in her living room. It was the very first time that someone had ever heard anything about it. So she went, changed her life. She healed. She came back to Pueblo and told her friends, the Brooks sisters, and they were obsessed overnight. It was crazy. There's even a quote from Nona about going in, I think it was like 4 sessions or 4 courses in. It changed her life. She said she felt the light right through her body. Everything was activated. She knew the truth of who Spirit was and how Spirit was using her body for health and healing and alignment. It changed everything. Granted, this is at a time when doctors were not really very trusted medical professionals at that time. They were really just guessing at how to heal bodies. It wasn't until decades later did modern medicine really catch up to what it is now, able to truly heal people. So at the time, it was revolutionary that people were actually being healed by their thoughts. That's where it started. The Brooks sisters said, thank you so much. We are going to go to Denver. We're going to found this movement, divine science. They didn't even have a name for it yet. It wasn't until they read a book by a woman named Melinda Kramer, the book was called Divine Science and Healing. And they contacted her, but she lived in San Fran. So they invited her to come hang out in Denver. Everyone got along. And then after a while, they said, let's move to San Francisco. And we already have a birthplace in Denver, but let's really do some more work there. And after the huge earthquake in 1906, they came back to Denver without Melinda, because she ended up passing away after that. So this is phenomenal. 4 women in a time when there were so many rules about who these women could be or couldn't be, got through this, created not only an idea, wrote it on paper, published books, created curriculum, created a movement, hundreds and then thousands of people, and then created the building that we live in, maybe I feel like I live in today, that we ritualize and we get to worship in, and we get to share connection and meals and stories and secrets with each other, all in this building. All of that was created by women who heard stories and have realized the power of their thought. They had political power all of a sudden. Things were brewing in the streets. Women were becoming more vocal. They were saying, hey, we matter. And their theology, their bodies, their whole being mattered too. We might take that for granted now, but that was huge at the time. Huge. It set the stage for what was yet to come. Really, divine science. These women used this teaching to build not only Althea and the space that we have, but really these ripple effects into society. So what is the point? Like, what can we take away today of this? First of all, you're a revolutionary. You're part of this movement. This is a movement birthed by women who didn't care about the rules of society, who knew that their calling was greater from God. They listened, they honored it, and they trusted in their divine power. Their thoughts really were that powerful. So are yours. I hope that's what you get out of this. The empowerment doesn't come from outside things. Yes, our building is beautiful. Yes, we have lineage and a great history. But you can choose in any moment to align and activate with that source. Your thoughts really are that powerful. You're part of this. What makes you any different than these way showers 100 years ago? Not much, except they're not wearing a corset right now. So that is a huge difference to me. When I think about thoughts are powerful, I want to share with you a story. I just got a dog, as I told you guys a couple of weeks ago. And my partner, EJ, the other day, instead of saying no to the dog, just kept saying, nobody said that was okay. Our dog loves to cuddle and will like climb up on couches and find her way. And he just kept saying, nobody said that was okay. Nobody said you could do that. And I said, EJ, this dog doesn't really understand English like that. Like, you're really doing a lot, she doesn't get it. Maybe she speaks an entirely different language, we don't know. And he said, it was body language and energy. She got it. And I think about that in a spiritual way. He said it, I thought, oh, I feel like I got called out and got called in all at the same moment. Of that, our thoughts are really that powerful and activates this energy that doesn't matter if it's a dog or our boss or a loved one or someone on the street. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if it's our inner critic. If we vibrate at that frequency, our thoughts can create that reality. He set that boundary, and that was an energetic boundary, not really a word boundary. He knew it though in his being. It's a very simple example, but it's very powerful. This is something that these women taught us, that we continue on in this legacy today. It's important to honor this lineage, to wrestle with these ideas, to question them, to work with them. I think that is what they used to do in these parlor rooms, in these living rooms, to sit around and contemplate. It's a true philosophy. I think for me, it's been hard this week. I've dealt with a lot of injustice, and it's still very hard. I was creating this experience for all of you, doing this research and feeling so empowered on one end and feeling like so much has changed in our society and also so much is not. And it's really difficult when these structures, these systems are stopping us as well. And so I want to just lift up, if you are someone right now that is struggling in whatever way, yes, affirmations. Yes, manifestation. Yes, you can do it. Yes, miracles absolutely can happen 110%. And if you're wrestling with that too, that's more than okay. We got here because we questioned this reality. We questioned that everyone else was Christian and just telling us this was the way to go. There was a big diversion with these women that allowed us to see something different and be something different. That's why we do affirmative prayer, because it works. Because we're rooted in the science. It's divine science. It's spiritual science. We're not just willy-nilly hoping things happen. We're doing them on purpose with clear intention. We've tried over and over again. We know what works and what doesn't work. And it's okay that you're wrestling with that. We're here. I'm wrestling with you. This is tough. Not everything is always going to work out the way that we think or the way that we plan. And manifesting isn't always about the particularities. It's about the core message and the core meaning from spirit. At the end of every single prayer, I always add something about the highest and best, because I can think I know, but I'm only one mind, and we are tapping into the oneness mind, the global mind. And I have to give it up at that certain point too, of this system that feels destructive and the way that things are. I have to give it up, and I have to give it over to the universe. That we get to co-create, but there is a level of surrender and a level of trust. H. Emily Cady, She wrote this awesome book. She is she works a lot with unity. This is what she looks like in the back, if you can see. But she never really picked a thread of the New Thought movement. She's a wonderful author. She says we talk to God, and that is prayer. God talks to us. That is inspiration. That's where it lies in our lives. So I also want to quote something from her book, actually, page 38. Let's see if I can find it here. It was really illuminating to read. She says, there is a shortcut to the top of the hill. While there is a good but long roundabout road for those who need it, we prefer the less laborious means of attaining the same end by seeking directly the spirit of truth promised to dwell in us and to lead us into all truth. My advice, if you want to make rapid progress in growth towards spiritual understanding, stop reading many books. They only give you someone's opinion about truth or a sort of history of the author's experience in seeking truth. What you want is revelation of truth in your own soul, and that will never come through reading many books. Seek light from the spirit of truth within you. Go alone, think alone, seek light alone. And if it does not come at once, do not be discouraged and run off to someone else to get light. I love this for two reasons. First, I'm reading a book, I'm reading her words, and she says, stop reading. Live your life. It's so powerful. She says, activate it. I've talked a lot about a lot of different aspects of this history, but what matters is the history that you're making in this moment. What matters is that you don't give up and get discouraged. Go in yourself. Go alone. We have this community, but it takes you to activate it in your own life. You can choose empowerment with your word. You can choose it at any single moment. So read, yeah. Don't read too many books, I guess is what she's saying. But embody it. Lastly, I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes from Nona Brooks. She says, because they started out making a philosophy and having these conversations. And she says, it's not a religion we are making. It is a life. So this is it. This is your life. You have the power to co-create it with the divine, and our community confirms and affirms it. Thank you for being on this journey with me, for making this not just a philosophy, but a movement and a community beyond the walls the physical contains. What always helps me in moments of surrender and when things right now on the planet are so swirling, is to root and remember. And I'm going to invite my mother back. I'm entwined with this in my family, so I really value her essence and energy and contribution to this. And invite my mom, Linda Newell, back to share with you a song that grounds us all in these moments. So I'm going to pass the mic. Thank you, Mom, for sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, for inspiring, so inspiring to be part of this movement and so many generations, and so grateful to be here to share in this moment when we need a little bit of the empowerment of stillness and peace around us with all that is swirling around the world and our communities and our country, in our homes. And so I welcome you to, some of you know this song. It's called Be Still. It has been used actually for years and years throughout many churches and community gatherings, in really creating a space for us to know that no matter what is going around, we can be still and we can know. So I'm going to put the words in the chat box, and if you're unfamiliar with it, you can join me on the second verse, but let me do that so that I can get you there. Okay. Be still, in quiet and in peace. We know the joy and wonder of release. In this sacred house, all troubles disappear. In this secret place, there is no doubt or fear. Be still, and know that that faith has made us whole. Be still, renewed are we in spirit and in soul. The light of truth within shines forth that we may see. Perfect peace is ours eternally. We'll start it again and you can join with me. And for some reason, every time I sing this song, my cat joins me and starts singing. So here she is, Elfrida. All right, let's do it together. Be still, in quiet and in peace. We know the joy and wonder of release. In the secret house, all troubles disappear. In the secret place, there is no doubt or fear. Be still and know that faith has made us whole. Renewed are we in spirit and in soul. The light of truth within shines forth that we may see. Perfect peace is ours eternally. May you know peace today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Not just for that song, but for teaching me this lineage and this legacy. This is why intergenerational ministry and magic matters so much at Althea. I'm so grateful that I'm teaching this to my kid. I'm so grateful that we have folks like Leela as well in our community that are studying this with us, that it is never too young, never too old to anchor in this truth, to be still and know the power of God and the power of thought. So thank you. I'm grateful that I come from a lineage of really powerful New Thought women. And I know that that is extended to each and every person in our Althea community as well. And in this extension, I invite you to lovingly share your gifts with our community, to share generously and graciously with us in the midst of not being in person because of our boiler, because of the snow. We would really love for you if you could donate today with the awareness and the intention of restoring and realigning us with our building and with this thought, and really using any kind of prosperity that you share with us as an intention, as prosperity into an investment, really, into your spiritual growth and into your spiritual practice in this community. That whatever you know that you put into it it manifests and magnifies many times over in your life, that whatever you share with us, we get to share with you and the wider community. I am blessed to do this work. I'm blessed to do it with each and every one of you. It is no fun when we do it alone. And I think that's the power of divine science, especially. Every other movement was really started by either one or maybe two people. Divine science was started by 4 women. That is a powerful message to send to our legacy, to our current reality now. So I'm sure there's a donate button in the chat box. Please donate on our website. We'd love for your support, knowing that you're a part of our community and investing in it and lifting us up and building us up, just as we do with you. And I'd also like to just acknowledge the monthly donors and the dip jar folks. You can also become a monthly supporter. That is really, really, really helpful for us, just to know and count on that money coming in, that we are sustainable and just bound up together, right? Our liberation is connected. So thank you for that. We always love to end with prayers of the people. It started online and we're going to do it again online today. So please, in the chat box, write in who or what or anything that's on your heart. It could be a prayer for peace, to be still. It could be a prayer for something that you want to go even better, like a job opportunity or a relationship. So it doesn't have to be always dire, and it doesn't have to be something perfect. It can be a lot of things in between. But I love this part because we get to hold up each other in prayer, in affirmative prayer. This whole experience today was about the power, the empowering power of thought, of how it can change our lives. So we really take your prayers in, and we don't wish, we don't hope, we affirm and know and co-create with the divine what is listed in that chat box. It matters. This is not willy-nilly stuff. We're not doing accidental spiritual work here. We're doing very on purpose with purpose work. So if it calls to you to share with us what's brewing in your life, we'd love to hear it. And my computer has now officially frozen, so I cannot see the prayers right now, but I do know that they will be lifted up and supported by all of our prayer partners throughout the week. We also have prayer requests available on our website as well. So if you don't want to be as public, or you want to have a more official opportunity or something for our prayer partners to pray for you, that's absolutely fine as well. We love and just welcome your prayers, whatever it may be, whenever it may be. Those are available 24/7 on our website at altheacenter.org. Lastly, we have a few announcements that we always need volunteers. So we're specifically looking for greeters and readers. Katie Kurtz was a phenomenal reader today. If it calls to you to be a reader in the coming weeks and months, we would love your support. Also musicians and singers. We've had a couple folks come forward, but we're looking for not only like featured musicians on Sunday, we're looking for folks like Aaron and Leela, who fabulously sang with us today, who are our song leaders. So if you are called to not only maybe sing a big song, or maybe the community song or the Face of God song, we invite you at any level. If you want to share your gift of song, we invite you up on the stage. Thank you. Lastly, technology, as you can tell, it still matters. So even when we're in person, we're still streaming online, and we definitely would love folks to continue to connect with folks online. And so if anything tech related calls to you, please reach out to Sarma again. It's at, you can email her at staff@altheacenter.org. She is phenomenal. She gets back to everyone, and she will definitely find a way for our community to connect with your gifts. We are so, so grateful for your essence. Lastly, continue joining us all month. This is Women's History Month. So every single Sunday, we're going to go through another wave of the New Thought movement and another wave of the feminist movement together. So next week, we're going to do some swinging 60s. We're going to do like 60s, 70s, 80s vibe. So maybe that'll influence your wardrobe. I don't know. But it could be really fun. We're having a special guest speaker next week, Mary Jo Honores, and we're really excited to just welcome her back into our space again. So definitely join us in person. We will be in person next week if the weather cooperates and the boiler, which we know it will because we are affirming it so. Lastly, join me in prayer just for a moment and root in our connectedness and our unity with the divine, with the co-creation that we are manifesting and making and swirling on this planet right now. That peace touches the hearts of all human beings. That sacredness is awakened and enlivened in consciousness. That we come from a space of respect and truly seeing and loving the supposed other. That whatever we need to do right now for the culmination, for the transformation of our planet, let it be so. Let it evolve with ease and grace, with abundance and truth at the heart. I know that spirit flows through each and every one of us this week as we birth forth, just like the Brooks sisters and Melinda Kramer, just like them, we are birthing forth ideas and philosophies and life-changing paradigms. We are the change makers we have been waiting for. I am grateful to know this truth, to serve this community at this anointed time. And I release this word into the law, and I know that it is taken over by God, by angels. Everything is aligned. Everything is awakened. We are aware of this power. And so it is. Amen. I am so grateful to be with you. In person, online, it doesn't matter. We're together. Thank you for joining me this Sunday. Can't wait to see you very, very soon. And know that you are loved, that you are a blessing, and you are blessed. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you all very, very shortly.